Pokemon Masters, Keeper Toby here. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Super Smash Bros. For 3DS.
Playing as Mewtwo, no doubt.
Why, hello there, Klaus. I haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been?
Well, I've been off watching Avengers. Age of Ultron.
Wait! Don't spoil it for me. I haven't seen it yet. Although I'm very excited. The trailer seems to show Tony Stark creating an entirely new entity called Ultron who threatens to destroy the world.
Well, doesn't that sound like a familiar Smash Bros. Character?
Well, yeah, it does! Mewtwo is a Pokemon created by Team Rocket scientists in their attempts to clone Mew, the most powerful Pokemon. They go to some rather radical measures in DNA splicing, and eventually they succeed. Sadly, after finishing the creation of Mewtwo, it goes on a bit of a rampage, destroying the laboratory it was created in and killing all of the scientists. Eventually, it goes on a quest of world domination, trying to kill all of the humans.
Well, I have an idea that Mewtwo isn't all that different from humans after all. In fact, I believe Mewtwo is part human. One of the giant distinctions between humans and animals is humans' ability to recognize and contemplate their own existence. In the Pokemon world, this behavior isn't typically exhibited by Pokemon, except for one, Mewtwo. We are first introduced to Mewtwo in the Japan-only short, The Birth of Mewtwo. We come to understand that Mewtwo shares brainwave patterns with a girl called Ai, who is also being cloned. Despite being separate entities, Mewtwo and Ai communicate and share memories with each other telepathically, and Ai even makes remarks like, "You and I are the same," and "You could be human too." Sadly, her clone and the clones of many other Pokemon do not survive the process. However, Mewtwo does, as it is being cloned from the strongest Pokemon, Mew.
So here's something interesting. Ai looks like a little girl, and all of the Pokemon being cloned look almost identical to their original forms. However, Mewtwo doesn't look anything like Mew at all, as if something's been added. Mew is the new species Pokemon. It looks a little bit like a cat or an embryo. However, Mewtwo only shares a few of these traits, instead standing at over human height at 6 foot and is able to know human speech, unlike its counterpart. In his first appearance, Mewtwo travels around the mind of this little girl, Ai. Together, they visit various areas of her consciousness telepathically. This could imply where he gets his psychic powers if they share DNA. In fact, the short goes outright as far as to say that there's a data transfer between her mind and his. Mewtwo is one half ancient power cat and one half little girl.
Later on, there is another short film called Mewtwo Returns, which focuses on his existential crisis. He is living in recluse with other clone Pokemon. However, aware of his origins, the movie centers around the question, am I a real Pokemon? What if instead it's not about him being a clone, but more alluding to the fact that he's more of a person than a Pokemon? In this movie, he's caring for Pokemon, similar to how a trainer would theirs, and in the first movie, he even creates Pokeballs. He's just that smart, but there is so much more. In the Pokemon Adventures manga, Mewtwo is confirmed to be part human. He is made from the cells of Mew and Blaine's arm. Now, him and Blaine have a sort of symbiotic relationship. One of them can't be too far away from the other, and they can communicate actions, thoughts, even pain telepathically. Now, this connection is severed when Blaine's arm is healed. Now, this to me symbolizes the birth of a child. The child relies on the mother until its birth, once it becomes its own being.
Speaking of birth, in other canons, Mew is said to have given birth to Mewtwo. This is according to notes in the Cinnabar Island mansion, which is typically very different to how Pokemon reproduce, normally laying eggs. However, humans can give birth, and it's possible that by experimenting on Mew and implementing it with human cells, they could give it the correct one to allow it to give birth. And any failed projects may very well have become the blob Pokemon Ditto. Ditto has lots of connections with Mew. It has the same colorations, they can both learn Transform. It's found in the Cinnabar Mansion, where you find the notes about Ditto, in Cerulean Cave, where you battle Mewtwo. And it's also worth noting that Ditto is the Pokemon based around changing cell structure and breeding.
In the first movie, Mewtwo refers to itself as both the strongest Pokemon and the strongest Pokemon trainer, implying a human connection. But that's not the only Mewtwo in the anime.
Of course, another Mewtwo shows up in the Genesect movie. This Mewtwo is able to Mega Evolve into Mega Mewtwo Y. However, it was before Mega Stones were announced, so it doesn't use one. But what if that means something deeper? Mega Evolution normally requires a strong bond between a Pokemon and its human trainer. This Mewtwo, unlike the Mewtwo from the first movie, is very content with its own existence. It's worked out the meanings of life. You could suggest it has a strong bond with its own inner being. So if it was part human, that would make perfect sense as to how it can Mega Evolve at will. It's the human trainer and the Pokemon perfectly literally bonded.
Wow, so Mewtwo is a Pokemon-human hybrid, and that is confirmed in more or less every single canon. It's a shame that all these creatures of immense power always turn on their creators. Am I right, Ultron?
Hey, no, shoot, get out of here! Spoilers! Bad Ultron. Well, we're just gonna fly away now, probably play some Smash Bros, but make sure you check out Klaus's channel. He made all of the music for this video and lots of Pokemon music, and if you're a video maker too, you can use it, provided you credit him, of course. I could not have made this video without his support.
Well, see you soon. Mega Mewtwo X or Mega Mewtwo.
Don't forget to subscribe.